Women say that the quickest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. This is a common expression. So this means if a woman cooks a meal for a man, he will fall in love with her. I think this is an expression which exists in other languages as well. Well, I think that works both ways. So if a man can cook a good meal for a woman, she will certainly be quite impressed as well. But it really doesn't take too long to cook a decent meal. So there's no excuse for not learning how to cook. I mean, you can't live on takeaways after all. Although I know there are a lot of people who have tried. Besides, cooking is supposed to be good for the brain as well, because you're using every skill at the same time. Things like timing, coordination and creativity. So it's not hard to throw a good meal together. I usually keep the meat in the freezer, so I have to remember to take it out a few hours before to let it thaw out. Then I just look around the kitchen to see what I've got. I don't really follow any recipes, so every meal is an adventure because I don't know how it's going to turn out. But you can go online now, there are loads of recipes, it's easy to find. This is also a good way to practice your English. Read the recipes in English. After that, I boil up some water to cook rice or pasta, and then keep an eye on it so the water doesn't boil over. Meanwhile, I chop up some vegetables and the meat, throw them into a pan or a wok, add whatever spices I can find and stir everything around for a few minutes. Then I heat up a plate in the microwave, which will keep the food warm. I serve it up and I'm ready to eat. I'm very careful not to overcook or undercook the meat, and I don't leave food in the fridge for too long so it goes off. And while I'm cooking, I usually do the washing up at the same time, so I'm not left with piles of dirty pans and plates in the sink later. So, it's easy really. Then if I have too much food left over, I can keep some for the next day. And we call this leftovers. I can just heat it up in the microwave. Okay, let's look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. To live on something. I can't live on takeaways. To live on something means to survive on something. I can't live on takeaways means I can't only eat takeaways. I have to eat other things as well. Throw a good meal together. This is quite a casual expression which means to cook something quickly and simply and easily. To take the things you have in your kitchen to make a quick, simple meal. To throw a good meal together. Let it thaw out. If you let something thaw out, it means you take it from the freezer and you leave it out the freezer so the temperature changes and it is no longer frozen, it's no longer cold. It's ready to eat or it's ready to cook. I don't know how it's going to turn out. To turn out in this case means I don't know how it will be in the end. I don't know what the end result will be. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Keep an eye on something. If you keep an eye on something, it means you watch it to make sure nothing bad happens. You watch something to check that everything is okay. Keep an eye on it. Overcook or undercook. Overcook means to cook for too long. Undercook means to cook for not enough time. Don't let the food go off. If food goes off, it means it goes rotten. It means it is not good to eat. The food is now old. Maybe it's changed colour and it starts to smell and you need to throw it away. Throw it in the bin. Don't eat it because the food has gone off. Do the washing up. Do the washing up means to wash the dishes, the knives and forks, the pans, everything you use to cook and to eat. This is not the same as washing clothes. Do the washing up. Piles of dirty pans and plates. Piles of means lots and lots and lots of something, all on top of each other. It's like a mountain of pans and plates. Food left over. This is extra food. If you make too much food, you have extra food. You have food left over. If you have extra food, then we call it leftovers, because it's food left over from before. It's extra food. We call this leftovers.